Feature Friday.
The freshest.
Well,
Hello!
this is really fun because
Happy
it's from
Saturday.
90s, 50s. 1958 this came out in. And we haven't checked out this duet before, this duo, and it was a really highly requested but also pinnacle duo of the Indian music industry in the 50s, 60s and 70s, probably up until the 90s from my understanding. Kishore Kumar and Asha Bhosle, who we've checked out before. I don't think we've checked out Kishore Kumar in that much depth. We probably should, but we've checked out this song before.
Definitely based on the a little like compilations that we have seen in the past. One of the most influential voices of the 1950s all the way up to like the 90s. So it's actually quite interesting to see them at like the prime of their era.
This is what would you call it? A must for us.
Yes.
In order to grasp a good understanding on where things originated and why the sound it's still so sought after. They were the ones that kind of led the march, if you like. We have heard this song by Sanam.
Covered by
them. We've never heard the original.
Wow. What a voice, though.
Fucking hell, the audio is mad old.
Do you know what's funny? Do you look at that video and you feel like it's edited that way? How insane is that?
Sorry,
I
man.
love Asha's voice. It's so sweet. It's so highly melodic, but it also maintains this disdain of innocence, like somebody who's very youthful and refreshingly innocent. You know what I mean? Like borderline childish without the twanginess of a child.
Youthful, yeah, very, very youthful.
You know what I mean?
Don't-
That's so beautiful.
Apology for your ears if I just burst them immediately, but I've just turned it up like a motherfucker. Let's see if it works.
Perfect volume, if you ask me.
Jesus, her range is a nut. It's a nut. But even though he's so, probably higher than most guys, I would presume, he still has a really manly, feel
Tessiture to it.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me a lot of the vocal texture, actually in the same era of music, but from Mexico. In Mexico, you got the mariachis that had a very similar vocal range, very bright, very youthful, but at the same time they maintain that masculine essence to it. What is that edge? I have absolutely no clue.
Interestingly enough, this is 1958, right? So, the world probably wasn't as connected. Well, not probably. It definitely was not as connected as it was now. But definitely producers and musicians were still traveling the world and learning. You just kind of had to work harder to pick up influences from different parts of the world.
You had to be physically exposed to them.
That's what I mean. You have to work a lot harder. You don't have to do what we do, which is like just sit down and research it online. You actually have to go there and live it. But interestingly enough, even though it's 1958, my question would be why? Because it's also really popular, this song. It does not feel something foreign if you were outside of India. A lot of the things even now, if you were to listen to a lot of the commercial stuff that is really popular in India, it would feel quite foreign if you are from the US or from South America, or even here in Europe. You'll be like, oh, that's so different. You don't get that here. But that style of sound would be predominant actually worldwide in South America in the 50s, in the 60s. In the US, I'm not too sure.
But I know for a fact in the Philippines and was also a sound very popular.
Yeah, in Asia actually this seemed to be quite a popular sound. Indonesia, Philippines.
Is that waltz-like approach to romantic ballads that really carried through with that idea of like having accordions or a harmonium, like in this particular case. Yeah, you had like a waltz feel to it. Obviously, the structure of the song, it's actually what's incredibly different here. The rhyming and the prose of the lyricism actually works in sections. So if you pay attention to the beginning of the singing phrases, they kind of say one sentence first, and then it repeats back to that first sentence and continues the thought process after, which is very unlike anything else that we have heard from the 1950s. And if you pay attention to this following verse, it'll open with a sentence, and then it will continue its thought. You see?
Wonder what that instrument is.
Such beautiful shots, right?
I think also, if you pay attention to this type of compositions, both in the acting and musical aspect of things, you start to, I think, at least to my eyes, you start to kind of get a better understanding on certain things and why certain things are made in a specific manner nowadays. Like, for example, the focus. Back then you didn't really have CGI, you didn't really have like immense productions of things. But if I guess the best selling point you had and the pinnacle, most recognizable thing about Indian cinema was facial expressions, was body language, non-verbal communication, because they are dubbing the song, right? This is something that's it's done a lot. It's always done a lot in India, which is the whole playback singing style of musical numbers in movies. So you have to really sell that this is actually you singing, and you have to really sell that this is really your story in the movie. Then, as years progress, technology advances, quality of acting increases, and all this stuff, because better training, better knowledge. You still have some of those aspects prevail, like there's, super...
The principles maintained.
Yeah, some of those aspects, like the glaring eyes, the focus...
Or the focus on the environmental breeze and stuff like that. There's such beautiful focus on close-ups that they are really present in nowadays, like modern-day movies in
cinema.
Bollywood still,
Yeah, and then in music, then you definitely start to understand as well that... even since the 50s, again, I don't know why this became the thing in India, and I'm over in the Indian music industries, many industries, because it seems to be quite common across all the industries. The female range is usually really, really high. It's very rare to find an alto. We always say that, every time we check out like Shilpa Rao or like Sunidhi to a certain extent can kind of fool you in that manner as well. But that's just because she's a bit of a chameleon. She can do anything. It seems that higher range of vocals is always what's been sought after. Mm-hmm. Even nowadays, you have the Shreya Ghoshals, you have...
I do think it comes from, this is personal, just my personal opinion, but I also do think it represents the beauty of the feminism in ways that no other vocal quality can.
Like pure feminine energy.
It's like if you wanted to really pinpoint the most feminine, most seductive, sweet, or motherly sound, you would be a soprano. You ideally, even in classical music in the West, like opera training, when you see the main leads of an opera act, most of them are sopranos. The love interest, the woman that sacrificed it all for love. It usually tends to be sopranos, and I think it's because it's the maximum expression of feminism, musically speaking. So seeing it prevail throughout so many different eras of filmmaking in India, it's actually quite stunning.
Yeah, perhaps not feminism in the postmodern sense, but pure feminine energy. I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
But that I would probably presume that's why. And I think that's why also musical directors and movie directors seek
it still.
That sound and that look.
Also, such organic acting. It feels so nice.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's a beautiful song.
It's one of my favorites. And I also have to give huge props to
Beautiful
Sanam, because
reviving these classics.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if they sort of revived it, because classics in India really prevail for a long fucking time. People really, I think it comes from the classical approach of things. They really play tribute, from my understanding, to them.
And I also think it's very cultural that the people that
listen
you grew up listen to these
the original pieces,
golden songs.
Yeah.
You know?
But Sanam, what did really well in their cover, if you haven't heard it, is they really maintain the purity of the song. And maintain the
core essence.
Yeah, the core essence of it, and that's, you know, one of the hardest things to do when you do a cover.
And not only did they maintain the core essence, both in vocal quality and the execution of the song, it also freaking brought something new to the table, adding a lot of Hispanic influences with it. Cajon and the acoustic guitar as well. So you had so many beautiful additions to the track to enhance its natural beauty, which I think it's such a wonderful task. It's not easy.
The lyrics goes, this night, this weather, this riverbank, this gentle breeze are all awesome. This night, this weather, this riverbank is all awesome. Our two hearts have said that we'll never separate. This night, this weather, this riverbank, this gentle breeze are also
and
awesome.
I think it's awesome in the way it is used, the word, to create awe, as in like you are in awe of the scenery, rather than for it to be, it's a cool term, you know?
Yeah.
That's just how I'm translating it in my mind.
It definitely isn't the fucking word awesome, I guarantee you that much.
It's awesome.
What's the matter with the moonlight today? What's the matter with the moonlight today? That we're lost with the flow of love. We're embracing each other and our eyes are intoxicated. We've started to enjoy life. This night, this weather, this riverbank, this gentle breeze are all so awe-inducing. The crowd of stars is giving us a signal. They're saying that the entire world is now ours. When love is young and the skies are open, then what else can a heart desire?
Aww.
Nice, they even rhymed in English. Promise me that you'll never be upset with me and that our bond won't break until we live. I've given you my heart and I've made this promise that I'll always be yours, my beloved. This night, this weather, this riverbank, this gentle breeze.
Fantastic
awesome. Poetry.
Again,
our two hearts have said they will never separate, and then he goes on.
It's a beautiful core essence. Also, the idea of how I spoke and like how the poetry is written, that for every verse you open with a sentence, there's a musical instrumentalization, and then you continue. The thought is actually such a beautiful way of emphasizing feeling and where exactly it wants to be at. But listen to this modern take of it. Still maintains the magic of the original.
I would highly recommend you go watch
If
the
you
original.
haven't seen it,
This is what it looks
it's
like.
it's ridiculously popular. It has like 100 million views. But
Yep.
again, go ahead and have a look at this cover. It's such a beautiful take.
We are thinking of doing like a golden era of Bollywood. It's just really hard to name it like that because it's like, where do we start? With the 50s, bro? Like 40s,
Correct,
30s? I
correct.
don't know. So, and then I'm sure, you can't please everyone. That's something, I guess it just goes with the territory. But I do want to do it the best justice to get the best understanding, because I'm also sure people from all over the world are watching, which is awesome to say. But when you're doing like a golden era of Bollywood, it's like, oh, fuck.
So where is it exactly?
Where do you begin?
Yeah.
So maybe you could help us in the comments. And apart from that, hope you enjoyed it, and adios.